Hi guys, Andy Raffel from etechnics.com, and I'm kind of back. As you know, we actually started off eTechnics as a video review site, but time and things like that, it just sort of fizzled out a little bit. So we are kind of back, hopefully going to be doing a lot more videos. And really we thought that we'd start off with this one today, looking at the MSI Z77 MPower motherboard. We have actually done a written review on this already. That was done by Chris, who does all of our motherboard reviews. But trying to sort of, get our presence back on YouTube, I thought it'd be a good idea to sort of, talk over this board, give a little bit of a first look, and yeah, just basically sort of, go through things for people who aren't too keen on the written side of things. So hopefully that'll give you a bit of an insight into, what this motherboard's all about, but in video format. So don't want to ramble on too much, want to get sort of straight into it. So firstly, sort of looking at, the packaging. MSI Z77 MPower, it's part of the Big Bang series of motherboards, OC certified. So, it is sort of based around overclocking. Plenty of different logos at the top here. So if I just sort of show you on the camera, we can see Virtue MVP, HDMI support, NVIDIA SLI and Radeon AMD Crossfire, Windows 8 compatible, Windows 7 compatible, and also supports Intel core processors, as well as having obviously the Z77 chipset as you'd expect with the name. Other than that, sort of quite a bright colourful box, nothing too exciting there, but this part of it actually sort of unravels a little bit, and then sort of looking on here you can see that there's plenty of different features that they want to highlight. So the enhanced components with the Dr. Moss 2, the OC PCB, solid capacitors, different chokes, different high quality capacitors. This is all based around obviously the MSI military class 3 components. We've also got enhanced power for obviously better power delivery to the CPU. So we've got extra input output power for an enhanced PWM design with hybrid digital power and 8-pin power connector for the CPU. So obviously you can provide better, cleaner power to the processor, especially if you're using a, as it says, a K-SKU CPU like a 3570K or 3770K Ivy Bridge. We've also got the enhanced thermal. Basically the design gives slightly better thermal dynamics when it comes to keeping things cool, especially when running under extreme circumstances such as being overclocked. And then we've also got the OC Essentials, so the multi-BIOS 2, debug LED, the kind of stuff that any sort of hardcore overclocker is going to expect. Even with the V checkpoints as well, so you can check your voltages, because we all know that BIOS voltage isn't the clearest. HW monitor and things like that, even less clear, and so forth. They also give us a little overclocking guide for us reviewers. Doesn't really say much, but we don't really need to talk too much about that. We get a first view of the motherboard here, which straight away you'll see has got sort of this funky yellow colour scheme. I'm actually quite sort of glad to see this, opposed to what we were used to a little while ago when it came to the sort of Asian side of MSI designing motherboards and putting a Gatling gun on it and bullets. Obviously Gigabyte did exactly the same, and I don't know whether it was a worldwide thing that they didn't like it, but in the UK it wasn't very well received. I believe it was the same in America as well. So obviously this is quite refreshing to see something that actually looks fairly normal. So yeah, basically just talked through some of the features, with Wi-Fi, USB 3, SLI and Crossfire support, THX audio, multi-BIOS 2, debug LED. There's so many different features on here. Really, if you want to sort of get into the nitty-gritty, I'd say check out the review that we've got on the website, the written review, because obviously we can go into a lot more sort of in-depth detail with that compared to a video. Closing that back up and sort of turning things over, on the back, obviously they're going to try and promote their product as much as they can, so it talks about being OC certified, the military class burn-in test. So basically they use this board, overclock it, and then obviously stress test it for as long as they can, just to make sure it is conforming to MSI's high standards for branding it as an OC certified board. A few of the specs sort of listed here and what the rear I/O looks like, but we'll go into a little bit more detail once we actually open it up. So why don't we do just that? So obviously we have opened this before, purely because we have already done the written review. So it's a bit of a mess, but never mind, we can still sort of go through things. So Wi-Fi antenna installation guide. We also get the V-check cables with the little quick guide and obviously all the different V-check cables, so you can check your voltage using a multimeter. We have the Wi-Fi antenna, or part of it. We also have a quick installation guide, which sort of folds out. Rear I/O backplate, so you can see obviously where all your USB ports and everything are going to be. We have a NVIDIA SLI bridge, MSI branded of course. SATA cables, we have 4, and out of these 4 we can see that they've each got a right angled SATA connector on, and they are the ones with the sort of locking mechanism on there as well, which is obviously nice. So yeah, we get 4 of them in total. Always nice to have the locking mechanisms, always a big fan of that. We also have the headers for obviously the front panel connectors, M connectors they are branded as. We have a software application user guide. Obviously the normal user guide as well for the main board itself, just talking you through bits and bobs. Driver installation disc, obviously the latest ones are going to be on the website opposed to on here. And with MSI they do sort of give a certificate of quality and stability. Anything that's branded obviously with a military class 3, they do like to sort of give this just to sort of show it's gone through extensive testing, uses the best components and so forth. So opening this part up, we actually get the motherboard itself. Now if we can pull this out of here and close this back down, I can then put the motherboard on top of the box and have a proper sort of look at things. So it comes in an anti-static bag as you'd expect, and taking it out, that's sort of our first look at the motherboard. Obviously for those who haven't actually checked our written review with obviously high resolution pictures and so forth. So one thing that I'm really keen on, and it's not just MSI who've been doing this, a lot of different manufacturers have adopted this now. Black PCB looks absolutely amazing, especially with the sort of subtle yellow branding. Now talking about the yellow branding, you may remember, if I just dig through what I've got here, but Avexia actually made some memory that matches in very nicely with the yellow on here. So obviously this all lights up blue if I remember rightly. On the top here it's got this sort of LED tube. But yeah, very nice. Obviously this was made to match with this board. Avexia also made different colours for the UP7 Z77 board from Gigabyte, so it's got the orange and everything. But on top of that, obviously MSI have made this memory, made the memory in conjunction with Avexia to go with this board. But obviously we've got the twin Frozer, the GTX 680 Lightning. There we go, Lightning. So yeah, obviously this has exactly the same colour scheme with the yellow. So once that's sitting in your system, the memory sitting in there, it all just goes really nicely. And there are a couple of manufacturers out there on the market. I believe the main ones are going to be Mayhem's and XSPC. I know Mayhem's do, I'm not too sure about XSPC, but obviously all these different manufacturers make fluids. I know that Mayhem's can actually match any colour, so they could match this colour. So if you're going to have this motherboard with the Lightning graphics card, the Avexia memory, and you want to get this yellow in terms of water cooling fluid, that's going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to look really good, and it should all tie in really nicely, especially if you get some sort of yellow LEDs, fans, that kind of thing. So this is the motherboard, ATX form factor as we'd expect. Now what I'm actually going to do, and this is going to be fun, I'm going to take the camcorder off the tripod so that I can actually show you sort of a little bit more close up. I just need to get this on my hand. So sorry for making anyone a little bit sick. Move the tripod out of the way, and that way I can sort of move in a little bit closer, a little bit more in detail, because my tripod's not the greatest, and when you try and move it suddenly, it sort of goes like this, and it's really, yeah, you'll get a sort of seasick feeling. So this would be a lot easier. So yeah, ATX form factor, black PCB, pretty much everything on here is black, or sort of, you know, there's a few things with different accented colours with the yellow, slight sort of bluey grey. It's actually sort of more grey, but on the camcorder it seems like it's coming up a bit sort of like a bluey grey. But yeah, we'll ignore that for now. So let's talk about the cooling sort of to start things off. So we've got a passive design, as we'd expect on any motherboard in this day and age. Big Bang branded, and this comes around into a heat pipe if I turn this around. So we've got the Big Bang branded passive heatsink over here, which comes down into the heat pipe and goes into this one branded under military class 3. And then that comes down into another heat pipe which actually turns into a flat heat pipe here, and that goes into here, which so we've got actually quite a lot of cooling around the CPU, and especially because this is a sort of, you know, a board aimed at overclocking, you're going to need the cooling all around, obviously the VRMs and the phases, just to obviously deliver that extra cooling performance. You can see the 8-pin power connector that we spoke about earlier just up here. In terms of that, we've got our memory slots down here. Without sort of looking too much, obviously I could open up the trusty manual and have a look. Obviously I'm not one that I should know absolutely everything, you know, spec wise. I should know a few things, obviously I do, but memory support wise, obviously DDR3, but speeds haven't actually got a clue without looking in the manual. So I'll have a little look now. But they don't exactly make it very simple. Memory support. So takes 4 DDR3 DIMMs up to DDR3 3000 megahertz. Obviously that's overclocked. The official support is 1600. Obviously that's you know, the limitations of the CPU, and then past that is sort of, you know, overclocked. Up to 32 gig. And that obviously runs in dual channel mode. So yeah, that's me reading the manual. Congratulations me. Other than that, you can see, you know, black slots. There's no sort of, you know, two-tone colour or anything like that. Around here we've also got our buttons for easy overclocking. So we've got the power, reset, OC Genie, which you can turn on and off. Other than that, we have got our V checkpoints over here. 24-pin power. We also have a 6-pin here to obviously give, you know, that little bit more power to the board for obviously extreme overclocking and whatnot. Debug LED for any sort of troubleshooting issues. We've got a USB 3 header here. SATA, we've got 3 ports. Now, going back to my trusty manual, I'm guessing they're all SATA 6, but I don't want to sort of say that and then realise that they're not. But yeah, there's 6 ports, they're all black. Now normally if they were going to be different speeds, obviously they'd have different colours and whatnot, but you can never be too careful. So SATA, we've actually got 2 SATA 6, and we've then got 4 SATA 3 gigabyte per second. So there you go, it goes to show that, you know, I wasn't sort of lying. You can't always tell without sort of, you know, checking it out. So obviously this should have given it away, the fact that this looks completely different to them, so yeah, I should have taken the sticker off. But we all make mistakes, so there you go. Down here we got a multi-BIOS switch, and then front panel headers and things like that. We've got USB 2 all along here, and then we've also got the hard drive LED and reset buttons, switches, power LED, speaker, all the usual sort of, you know, front panel headers and things like that. System fan header, another system fan header, audio, front panel connectors. Moving up, pretty much clear over here. I just want to see what sort of other headers are actually on this board. We've got a system fan header just in there. Then around here, obviously we spoke about the 8-pin that's over here. Some caps down here. We've also got another fan header here and a header here for J Turbo. So we'll see. That's going to be something to do with the overclocking. Also, sort of heatsink wise, we have got an MSI branded one here, which is obviously covering the Z77 Intel Express chipset. Then expansion slot wise, for all the people who are interested in obviously gaming and things like that, we've got PCI Express X1, yeah, one up there. We've also got one there, and one there. So yeah, we've got 4 PCI Express there. We've also got X16 slot here, another X16, but we can see it actually finishes here, so it's actually an X8 slot, and then another one here. So obviously there's support for NVIDIA SLI and AMD Crossfire X. So yeah, you're going to have no problem, obviously due to the spacing and things between the slots, to use them as you see fit. Other than that, really the last thing that we need to look at, no point really showing you the CPU socket. We all know what a CPU socket looks like and what pins look like and so forth. But we've got the rear I/O. So if I down here, you can see that we've got a PS2 mouse keyboard combo port, 2 USB 2.0 ports. We've got this funky little button here, which I can only assume is to clear your CMOS. I'm guessing that lights up the way that the actual button looks. It looks like it's going to light up. Bluetooth module here. We've got tons of USB 3. When I say tons, we've got 6. So 6 USB 3.0 ports. We've got the Wi-Fi module here. We've also got gigabit LAN, optical SP diff, HDMI, full-size display port, and then we've got our normal auxiliary analog audio ports. And as you can see, THX. So this is THX, True Studio Pro certified sound. It used to be a big thing if anything had THX on it. It used to be, you know, it had gone through a lot of certification, a lot of testing and so forth. But I've seen a lot of products with THX on it these days, and it doesn't seem to mean what it used to mean. But I have heard sort of, you know, onboard audio from this motherboard, and it does sound pretty good. And that is pretty much it, my chums. Hopefully that gives you a bit of an insight into this board. We're not going to do any sort of performance results with this on video, purely because we've already done it on the written review. So if you haven't seen that, go over to etechnics.com. We'll stick it in the description as well of this video, so you can see exactly, you know, what this is all about in terms of performance. We did actually, I'll give you a bit of an insight. We managed to overclock the CPU. We had a 3770K Ivy Bridge in here, i7, and we managed to get it up to 4.8 gigahertz, just under 1.4 volts, so 1.38 volts I think it was in the end. So pretty good results. We haven't got the best Ivy Bridge chip for overclocking, but generally Ivy Bridge, sort of, you know, that sort of clock is pretty damn good. So there you go, MSI Z77 MPower. Hopefully we're going to have a lot more videos for you very soon. It really depends on, you know, the comments and the feedback that we get from this one. If you like this particular style that, you know, I've done this in, pretty much slapdash. Haven't really, you know, had a script or anything, just, you know, me being me and sort of looking over a product and trying to explain it the best I can. Obviously I don't know the full specs, that's why I had the manual here. But obviously that's something you'd look up on the MSI website anyway. You can't expect us to know everything, and there you go. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Remember to like, subscribe and all the usual nonsense. This is Andy Rafael from etechnics.com, and this was the MSI Z77 MPower motherboard, sort of first look overview. Hope you liked it. Bye.